Ineke Hans. I'm a designer from Holland. I have a studio in Holland, and when I started my studio up, it was first also a lot of I initiated my work myself, built it, made it, started to produce it myself. So next to my studio in Holland, I still have a workshop, and this is a very nice way to ping pong between ideas and making things. Well, when I graduated in Holland, the situation in Holland was very bad for designers, and I started to work a bit on my own, 2 years, and then 1 year, 1.5, and then I thought I can go on like this and hope that it works out. At that time, Italy was still the country for design to study, and I thought I could study there. I can go and study again in England. And there was also an opportunity to take a job, but I didn't want to do that. So I looked at England, and the Royal College of Art was at that time, seemed to me a very nice school education to do next to the education I had in Holland, which was already a bit more into conceptual design at that time. And the education in England was at that time still much more focused on reality of industry and things like that. So I think in my case that was a very good combination, to have the conceptual way of thinking and the industrial way of thinking together. And also the Royal College of Art is a very high valued school. It's a good school, and it taught me a lot. And I can recommend it.
There really these days many Korean students to study there.
Well, I know, I am still an examiner there, and I see some Korean students too. I think designers basically have to deal with the problems of the world, or the problem, that sounds very big, but we have to deal with the problems around us, and our problems, shies, my friend. Well, I think I talked this afternoon also about Dutch design and the Dutch attitudes. I think the Dutch are, and me in a way as well, we're very used to trying to think about what is going on around us and think about that and trying to find solutions for that. As I was explaining earlier in this afternoon, in the 90s it was very much about impossible situations for designers to work with industry, and we tried to react on that and find our own way in it. If you are looking at the world we are in today, design has developed in many ways, and there's also a whole world of design which is dealing with small series productions, exclusive items, and so on. But if you're looking to the real problems of the world, we have to deal really with the waste of this world, with the food problems in this world, with the urbanization of this world. And these are also very much social issues. And they seem to be far away from the daily reality as we and you are dealing with on an everyday basis. But the highest percentage of the world's population is dealing with that kind of stuff. That's the reality that is coming towards us. And if we don't find solutions for it, we will really have a big problem with our food in the next few years, because there's no one to take care of it, because everyone starts to live in cities. There's issues that we really need to deal with. And in my opinion, design is not about creating fantastic fashionable items, but design is about dealing with social problems, dealing with problems that really need to be solved, and that makes the world nicer and better and more enjoyable. And therefore I think it is really also necessary to tackle some social issues. It can be, I think, if if you look at my profession, design, it has become so fashionable the last 20 years, you know. I'm sometimes saying things like in the 70s people in Holland wanted to be a social worker and they went to social schools to do that. And nowadays design is so fashionable that everyone wants to be a designer. And I think design is really much more than only the outward appearance and the glitter and glamour of things. And it means that you also have to dig in the mud sometimes. And that's really part of our job as well. It's not only glitter and glamour, it's also tough work that needs to be dealt with. My work, at least, really, I work in many different fields, industrial or craft or environments or small products. It goes really from small cutlery sets to big environmental problems or hotel interiors. For me, the crucial thing is that I have to bring something innovative. It has to have innovation. And that can also be on a social level and dealing with the world as it is today. I was given as an example in my talk that like 50 years ago people would all sit at the table and have dinner with the family. Nowadays we live in a society where everyone is having quick, different lives, and you know, your son is playing football and you come home later for a meeting, so everything goes through each other, and that means that you also live in a different world. So the objects you design for that has to be different as well. And the trick is to do it in such a way that you don't alienate too much from each other, because as a designer you might also have to think about you know, how to keep it nice, how to keep our society nice, and that we might say, hey, it's maybe very nice to have dinner together. Hey. So I really see not so much borders in what I design. My exception is that it has to be three-dimensional. I design things that are three-dimensional. And I like to think about systems, but the systems, and thinking about systems is part of the things we design three-dimensional with my studio. So it's more an attitude I think is that I have than limit myself to specific areas in design. I talked about a project we did on the island in Canada. These kind of areas, that's something I really enjoy to do. We're also working on some new products for an Italian company called Magis and a Finnish company called Iittala. So we're working at the moment a lot at products and furniture again, but always try to do one step further, and always, every time I start up with a new project, I ask myself, what am I doing here? Why am I doing this? Why should I deliver an extra piece into this world? And I think that's also the only basic questions you should ask yourself when you add something to this world, which is basically full of objects. An advice would be to ask yourself really serious questions. You know, don't ask bullshit questions. Ask yourself a question and give a true answer to it with your work.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Very nice.